All right. By popular demand, I have also decided to put together a quick presentation on Make Me Day Plus 3. Clear, clean, and free mask-free living. How ridiculously non-viable the masks and the restrictions are, and we're going to learn why shortly in a bit. So, disclaimer, do be mindful of this. None of this is legal advice, intended to be legal advice, or serves as a substitute for legal advice or a lawyer. Do your own homework. But yes, it is very necessary civil disobedience, and it's sitting in the front of the bus 2021 style. So, first off, use your common sense. If you're sick, stay home. Never go out looking to pick a fight or an argument. That's not nice. That's what the screamers do. And do try to stay 6 feet away from everyone, even though the screamers won't. And they will close that distance to give you a hard time by going about your business without a mask. Now, why are we doing this? Well, there's other videos out there. This will be on the YouTube channel, so do watch those other videos. We've got videos on the data. We've got videos on the damage. We've got, everything you need to know. So the time has come to take action, and the data is in. None of this prevented people from getting COVID, and it was a matter of when, not if, as in only the screamers said, but the data actually proved in spite of all the lockdown hysterics. So, congratulations for making the right choice. You are actually taking the first brave step to reclaim normalcy because, the lockdown won't end itself. And you've decided correctly you don't want to live in a cult. And for those of you who haven't, go to makemeday.com if you haven't been there yet. But this video is about starting to reclaim some of that normalcy and some of the concerns and steps of going about your business without a mask. Now, the first thing is first. Get or identify your health exemption. That's between you and your doctor or, whatever. And if you're putting your toes in the water of being an American but not brave enough yet and need to get some confidence, do wear a lanyard with your papers in it. A pro tip, though, Americans do not carry or ask for papers, so that's expert mode. I am in expert mode. I've been in expert mode, but those of you new to this, you need a little bit. You need to get your stripes and get some experience in the field, as it were. Typical example of a dialogue. Actually, this occurred yesterday, sort of. I kind of paraphrased it a little bit. Basically, how to assert your exemption. So Karen says you need a mask to enter, and normal person says no, I don't. I'm exempt. Karen says you need medical documents. Normal person says no, no you don't. The Karen says it's the law, and the normal person says so is HIPAA and the ADA. When did you complete your HIPAA training? I'll continue shopping now. Have a nice day. You walk away and shop. And, of course, do note, if they didn't ask you to leave, they didn't throw you out. So that's kind of just a ground rule, as it were. Gas station, just an idea. This is how some people handle it. This is how I've handled it. You just get in there as fast as possible, like you're just normally paying for gas. And if they have an issue, leave the money on the counter and tell them what pump and walk out. And don't leave until your pump is turned on. And if it takes a really abnormally long time or they refuse, you go ahead and just, call corporate or call the cops if they're not going to, they should just take your money. And they're going to, as we reclaim normalcy one gas station at a time. Now, strength in numbers, this cannot be understated. The minimum workable number to drastically reduce the chances that you will be hassled or stopped is 2 mask-free shoppers. 3 is better. 3 is ideal. It's a perfect happy number, but you should do as many as possible. If you get everybody on the same script and plan the trip, you'll get it done and it'll go. It'd be just like shopping was March 8th, 2020. Before all the screaming resulted in ideas so good they had to be mandatory. Obviously, everyone should enter at the same time, and the screamers tend to pick on isolated individuals for abuse and shaming, and that's what they do. So that's why strength in numbers is critical. And of course, people need to see more than one person without a mask. and they'll start ditching their masks too. I've seen it. It's heartening to see, and everybody kind of just goes, yeah, this is a bit ridiculous, isn't it? So the bottom line, a lot of people do raise this. I am a libertarian. I'm a big property rights guy. So the question has come up. But don't businesses have the right to stop you from entering? Normally, yes, absolutely. But here's the thing. No normal business in its right mind would purposefully bother its customers and scream at them or ask for medical documentation. This is all clearly insane, and it is clearly under duress. The thing is, no business really wants to do this. The king is a gun to their license's head. The king is threatening the businesses. It's basically a bank robbery, is in what it is. So in a bank robbery, the bank policy temporarily changes. The policy is you get on the ground, and the bank robber hands you the bag, and you put the money in the bag, and the gun, the bank robber, he kind of just swings the gun about, and he points it at Grandma and says, well, unless you put the money in the bag, Grandma's going to get it. You see, COVID-19 is no different. It's basically a bank robbery. That's a side story, and it's probably going to be another video, but this is all about emergency money. It's not about actually trying to protect Grandma. So that's pretty much it. Things to remind the screamer of. They live in a cult, and you don't. Obviously, the screamers do this for amusement and to blow off steam. Basically, it's a power trip, and it's not nice. So, the other thing to be mindful of, and maybe it may be appropriate to point it out, and again, I wouldn't ever recommend lengthy dialogue with a screamer because it's not productive. Their position is their position, yours is yours, but if you insist, and you really want something to say, no one sincerely terrified of COVID would be out, let alone close that 6-foot gap to scream at you for not wearing a mask. Bottom line is, walk away, continue on. You cannot rationalize with the mentally unwell. They're going to be crazy. No matter what you do or not, they're going to be addled with fear or out to just, get their ha-has off, and you can't help them. All you can do is pour that cup of coffee at the gas station, or get the groceries in the cart, or go to your bank and make a deposit or whatever. I mean, this is where we are. So if someone wants to operate that way, then let them make their own life difficult, because you can't help them. So more things, if you're really of that ilk where you want to attempt an intervention. Again, I don't recommend this. But one thing you could ask is, did the screamer complete a PPE training program? I mean, after all, masks are PPE. There's a correct way to don and doff them, and it's completely unenforceable, because in order to actually make the mask mandate meaningful, you would have to have the correct mask, which would be an N95. You'd have to wear that correctly. You'd have to get that fitted. So that kind of starts the wheels turning of, wow, am I really wearing this correctly? And of course, should the screamer even be within 6 feet of you after having touched his or her mask so many times? I say it's because it's 2021. Who am I to judge what anybody self-identifies as? Clearly, a lot of people already identify as superheroes. So the question that would jog the memory, if you would be, why am I closing with the 6-foot gap with this person who isn't wearing a face cape? I mean, am I that afraid of COVID? And of course, how long did the screamer wear that filthy mask? And of course, why would you... I mean, people want to have that discussion. That's great. But, why would they not want to even meet the requirements to comply with OSHA regulations to wear PPE? You can give them a number to call, and that number is 1-800-321-OSHA. And you could say, look, you call OSHA, you figure out I'll do me, I got stuff to do, I got errands to run, you're holding me up. So, and that's the way to do it. Another way to skin the cat, honestly, it could be Black Lives Matter. Of course they do. Why not wear a t-shirt? I mean, a t-shirt that says Black Lives Matter could be more helpful in getting you left alone than wearing a mask. And of course, a Black Lives Matter sign can only help. So obviously, if they want to make a big stink and give you a hard time, I mean, they must be a racist, right? So let's just go ahead and, put that out there. HIPAA where it hurts. No one in their right mind should ever want to play with medical records or handle or access or store them, especially if they're not in the medical field. That's just dumb. So HIPAA violations go from Tier 1 through Tier 4. The Tier 1, the fines start at $100, and Tier 4, those are willful violations where no attempt was made to correct them, and they were grossly negligent and willfully so. So it's 5,000 per. So let's just suppose you have a whole bunch of people coming, and they do the whole papers please nonsense. That has many ways to become a Tier 4 violation, and suddenly you want to know all about their training program. I would. So HIPAA, it's an amazing thing. But if you want to play with medical records, you better be ready to deal with HIPAA. I know I don't, and I don't want to disclose my medical records to anybody who is not HIPAA compliant, so they can piss off. My exemption is my exemption, and that's it. So, HIPAA harder and often. By the way, yes, there are criminal penalties for violating HIPAA. Let's just say there was reasonable cause or no knowledge of the violation. You could do up to a year in jail. Or if you obtained personal health information under false pretenses, that's up to 5 years in jail. And of course, obtaining personal health information for personal gain or with malicious intent, that's a solid 10 years in the slammer. So for you ladies out there who want to be a Karen, I do not recommend visiting the Clam Shack. That is not a great place to go. If you've ever talked to anybody who's ever been in, prison, especially women's prison, it's actually worse than men's prison. So despite everything you may have heard about men's prison, women's prison is worse. And I do point that out because most of the people making a big deal about this, the name Karen, comes from somewhere. So, super cool questions to ask to suddenly want to know. When was the old corner store's last HIPAA audit? Or when did the employee take or complete the HIPAA training course to store, handle, and communicate information concerning medical records? And did the employee communicate the personal health information of who and how early and often? You see, this is the thing. Now I gotta know. I mean, if we're gonna start playing with medical records, all these things come into play. I mean, and gosh, how do I access my medical records once the gas station, grocery store, or retailer has them? What to do? You see, this is uncharted territory, but Karen wanted to go there, and so we are taking the magical journey. Also, that journey involves asking, what sort of software and hardware controls do a restaurant put on my personal health information once they have and obtain it? Of course, it seems trying to obtain your health information isn't worth it, is it? I think not, but most people don't know that until this is all pointed out to them. So if you want to go there, actually, if you want to actualize it later on, I'm just going to leave this right here. It's just an annoying website. It's just a website. You could just click and go to it, and there may be a complaint process. There may be a complaint form. Who the heck knows? Whatever you do on your own computer is your own business. So, what about banks? Well, banks are governed by the Uniform Commercial Code. Negotiable instruments are payable to bearer on demand and according to their terms. So, in other words, do check your negotiable instrument, also known as your check for a mask requirements cash. And if it doesn't say must cash with a mask, well, I guess that's not part of the instructions, is it? And of course, you have a right to all of your money. Clean out your account if push comes to shove. I've done this twice in banks, and once you use the words negotiable instrument and, of course, Office of the Comptroller of the Currency and Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation do take complaints, and I've been through that complaint process, and it is not fun. Actually, it's not fun on the receiving end, is what I mean. I'm not telling you to do this, but I mean, if a bank wants to do something that would run afoul of these regulators, well, I guess actions have consequences, don't they? And by the way, when it comes to negotiable instruments, when they refuse to cash it, the technical term is called dishonor, and they cannot dishonor a check where there's funds to clear it. So, You know, that's the thing. Obviously, they can ask who you are. They can ask for ID. That's not a problem. But you know, the whole thing is if they're not gonna honor a negotiable instrument because you're not wearing a mask, well, hey, they want to go there. That's their problem. They made that decision. You didn't. So gift cards and change. The old coin shortage means a bag of change is a great substitute for the mask. I mean, after all, how badly does the store need it? I mean, I guess you can always just take it elsewhere if it's that big of a deal, can't you? And gift cards. There's no requirement for a mask to redeem or use them. And it's a superbly awful consumer protection issue waiting to happen, isn't it? You know, the thing is, I got some gift cards lying around. I may want to use them. Who knows? But if they don't want to let me in the store to use them, or they want to give me a hard time about using them, I guess there's, you know, things happen. I mean, I'd rather they just took them, but we'll see. You know, I mean, no promises. What if you get a bad screamer? What if the screaming is really super bad? Complain to the company about the employee and ask that they be fired. And of course, if you got an ADA thing going on, write a demand letter, send it certified. And you know, of course, it isn't legal advice. You should do your homework, due diligence, and research, but file a suit if you don't get what you asked for by the time you wanted it, and you think you have a case. If you think you have a case, go for it. Can't tell you. Obviously, you should do your own homework, but you got to claim. Why the hell not? You know, it's time. So how would you write a demand letter? Here's just some helpful tips, pointers. Everyone has their own way to do it. But I always say, just state the facts, not the feelings, as they happen in chronological order. You know, who, what, when, how, you know, and don't even get into the why necessarily, unless somebody says why. But do tell them what you want. It could be a dollar amount. It could be better treatment. It could be the screamer be fired. It could be they change their policy. It could be they say they're sorry. And do keep it simple. And of course, send it certified registered mail. Attention, legal department. And if you really have a few extra bucks lying around and you really want to make a statement and let them know you're serious, have a marshal serve it. So, got a ticket, got arrested, do fight it, and fight it all the way. As a matter of fact, there are 3.5 million people in Connecticut in King Lamont's COVID jail, so best of luck to him on that. And do explore the option of suing the COVID cop that gave you the hard time. And do know your rights and how to actualize them. Obviously, that process is way too long even for a video, so it's on you. You want to reclaim your liberty. You want to reclaim normalcy. You gotta start learning. But obviously, and most importantly, be nice and be kind. And do thank people for ringing you out. Customer service surveys, complete them. They matter. If you get someone who's going to look the other way, you want to make sure they get promoted. You want to make sure they get that raise. You want to make sure that business keeps them. Conversely, if you got a screamer, you want to make sure that that company removes them from their payroll. So just go about your business as a normal day, like circa March 8th, 2020. And just going about your business, it's not really a time to pontificate, argue, or debate. Your normalcy is not up for discussion, haggling, or negotiation. So that's the thing. Just go out, take it. It's a simple process. And it's all about make me. The positions of the king and his enforcers will not change. The positions of the screamers likely will not change. The data does not persuade them that none of this worked, and you're not actually killing grandma. And you're going to be just damaged and abused by endless lockdown unless you take steps to end it, which starts by not wearing a mask. And of course, these screamers' logic is fear or desire for power and control, or even all of those. It's about, to them, what they can get away with. That ends when the ride requires critical effort. So what I would tell you is this is about make me. I mean, the thing is, it all operates on fear and intimidation. And the minute you just decide enough is enough, and I'm going to stand up, whether anybody's going to stand up with me or not, that's when people do start standing up with you. So go out there, reclaim normal, and I hope you're all well, and I will talk to you soon.